I am in a position to achieve. I am positioned in power. Nothing is wasted. Closed doors are an indication of guidance. The place I am in today is where I must be to learn, grow, achieve, excel, and be the best version of myself possible. Hi, this is Dr. Anita with another diamond moment. The diamonds of our lives are produced through time, heat, and pressure. It's up to you to gather the value from these experiences to grow in life. If these messages have enlightened or helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I really do want to hear from you. Today, our topic is, listen. Did you hear that? Specifically, we're going to be learning to listen to our inner man when communication has been shut down. To reestablish communication, it will require determination, patience, rethinking our biases, and letting go of fear. I suggest using your Diamond Journey journal. Becoming is a process, and a process has stages by me, Dr. Anita McLaughlin, in order to capture your thoughts and to make your plan for moving forward. It's a 1-year journal, has no dates. You simply start the day you receive it, setting small monthly, weekly, and daily tasks, which will move you forward until you reach the day that you began the journey the following year. So get your journal, write down your thoughts, and let's get started. Again, to hear, you have to listen. And we're talking about listening to your inner man when communication has been shut down. You have to move past fear to reconnect. So I hear you saying, Dr. Anita, how do I know if I'm shut down? It's an easy way. The signpost that your communication has been severed shows in a number of ways. It shows up in poor decision making. It shows up in confusion on who you can trust. It shows up in a repetition or a reoccurrence of mistakes or steps. So what can you do to reconnect the lines of communication? Thank you for asking. It comes through listening, not with your ears, but through your spirit man. We've talked about evaluating our past. We've talked about retracing our steps in order to find our way back to a path that we may have ventured away from. So we have to also do the same thing when we're reestablishing any relationship. We need to go back and remember when the relationship was healthy and when that connection broke down. On the surface, it may seem as though you've made these corrections, but if you're still experiencing a repetition in your life or reoccurrences of your mistakes or steps, it may mean that you have to go back and look farther. Sometimes you may believe that you've reached the genesis of a situation only to realize that there's something else there. There are times when that something else may not feel as painful as the initial experience you're having in the present, but that is still playing a role in the decisions that you're making today. To hear the truth, you must listen. Listening requires silencing not just the room that you're in, but the noise in your head. Your ego fighting to protect you by suggesting in very nuanced ways that you stay where you are. You can equate it to the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. The truth that you're listening for comes from your inner man, not from your head. Once you're able to connect the two, the truth that you find there will actually set you free. There are times when we're so concerned about how someone else will feel about our truth that we procrastinate. In order to reach the truth, you must consider what not knowing the truth is doing to your life. As I said before, you don't owe anyone your future. It's up to you to listen deeply, relinquish, and release whatever is anchoring you to the mistakes of your past and let it go. For those who believe or have a faith tradition, which includes scripture, the book of Acts notes that when Jesus gave final instructions to the disciples, he told them that he was sending a spirit to them that would lead them from that point forward. That was to happen on the day of Pentecost. It was to happen at a particular time. So let's realize exactly what Jesus said. He said, I'm going to send something that you cannot see. I'm sending something that you cannot see in my place. It is a spirit, and this spirit is going to lead you. I'm sending it so that this spirit can tell you what is to come. For most faith traditions, there's been inserted a fear that following directions from a spirit that you cannot see is going to lead you into error or cause you to go to hell. This is diametrically opposed to what Jesus said. So, how do you know if you're listening to a bad or a loving spirit? You know that by the way you feel within. Are you afraid of the instruction? Is it violating your individual will? Are you still able to accept or decline the information? How are you being shown a message? Part of being led is allowing yourself to see symbols, which are individual to your understanding, that will lead you and that will guide you. If you're in nature and are unsure of a direction that you're headed, nature lovers would say that moss grows on a particular side of a tree. When you find the direction that the moss is growing, you now know what direction you're moving and possibly which direction to take. The Spirit leads us in much the same way by developing signs and symbols or a communication system or language which you will understand that will lead you in knowing or helping you make a decision. These signs and symbols are completely individual to you and you alone. There is an old wives' tale that says if the palm of your hand is itching, that you're going to get money. While many may have thought of this as superstition, it's a very clear understanding of the way that particular person may have been given a message. Maybe you've been praying for finances and not knowing where the finances would come from. You get an unusual sign in your hand. Your right hand suddenly has a sensation of itching, and amazingly, money comes to you shortly thereafter in an unexpected or unknown way. This is a hypothetical example of how leading from a spiritual perspective can happen. I'm not saying that this is the way things happen for everyone, but for someone, if no one else, the person who came up with this sign received the message, and it became a part of their spiritual language. They now believe that this is a sign or symbol that financial help is on the way. Many times we have sensations in our body that do not directly equate to illness, that after review, we're able to see a connection. That connection says, every time this thing happens, I see this same outcome. This is an example of how spiritual leading can take place. As self-determined beings, we have the ability to see the coincidental sign. And as free moral agents, we have the final say-so on being directed in this way or choosing not to. We have the ultimate choice, which cannot be taken away from us. You know, I've told you before that I believe in Scripture, in the truth of Scripture. So, for example, let's take Moses as he was leading the children of Israel out of Egypt. He told them, mark your doorposts with blood, and the death spirit, something that you cannot see, will pass by. And this, according to the story in Exodus, is exactly what happened. In addition, something like this had not happened before. So it doesn't matter if you view this as simply a story in antiquity or whether you view it as an allegory or as a fact. What we have is an example of a tangible sign of an intangible danger with the ability through that sign to lead you and create a place of safety. This illustrates an understanding that a spirit is something that you cannot see, but it will be possible to directly connect what you cannot see to what you can see. Being led is to be perceived both ways, from God's spirit directly to your spirit, and by picking up sensations in our bodies. And that forms a communication method if you agree. Using signs and symbols that you agree upon will be used by the Spirit, which will be able to lead you. The language will be shown to you if you're willing. And when you agree, this means this outcome. When that agreement upon sign or symbol appears and the eventual outcome lines up with that agreement, you can begin to recognize this as communication coming directly from your spirit man. And notice that I'm emphasizing you, not everyone else. Needless to say, if you're receiving messages that tell you to hurt or harm someone, if the messages that you're receiving are not rooted around love, caring for yourself, caring for others, if you're receiving messages that are frightening to you, if you're receiving messages that you know are unhealthy, then again, you need to speak with someone who can give you some help. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed to get assistance when you need it. The idea of being led is to be able to move towards a place of wellness, of wholeness, and of being in a place that is more beneficial than where you were. We're talking about reconnecting a communication that maybe has been severed, that we need to again get still and get quiet. We need to learn to listen from within. For some, the tradition of meditation is frightening. Many have been taught that to be still and quiet within is to allow something that you don't want to come into you. We're going to talk about intentions, but we're also going to talk about the way that fear will hinder and harm us, not this time, but every single time. We need to be able to ask questions of ourselves. It says, what are you afraid of? Why would you be afraid of listening to your spirit man, trying to direct and order your steps and take you where you are destined to go? Be kind with yourself. Be gentle with yourself and understand that you are entering into a place that maybe had been shut off to you or possibly had never been explained to you in this particular way. So why would communication be shut off from you? Think about it. If someone was calling you repeatedly and you never answered the phone, eventually they would stop calling because they would assume either you're not there or you don't want to talk to them. It's time to reconnect from what we've been missing, a connection to our higher selves. Don't forget that becoming is a process, and a process has stages. We'll go back into one of our greatest hindrances to becoming next time, but in the meantime, think about this. It's time to stop, breathe, feel the relief. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And thank you so much for continuing to listen. I hope that these messages I'm sharing will be a benefit to you, but it's up to you to put what you're learning into action in your life and watch things change. If you haven't done so, please get your Diamond Journey Journal and make a commitment to moving forward in your journey with us. This one-year journal is designed to move you forward, starting with where you are today and moving on until you reach this day next year. You're also invited to join me on NoomVibe, FanBase. Visit my website at www.DrAnitaMc.com. That's DrAnitaMc.com. And join me next week for another Diamond Moment.